This is Support is Sexy, episode 105, Focus on Gratitude. Welcome to the Support is Sexy podcast. I'm your host, Elayne Fluker, entrepreneur, author, producer, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I talk to women entrepreneurs who share their journeys and the true stories of their wins and their lessons, and give you insight and inspiration to take your business and your life to the next level. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Support is Sexy. I'm so excited to have you here. You know, it just would not be the same without you. I also hope you had a wonderful day yesterday. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, as many do here in the United States, or even if you don't, I hope overall around the world, to all of our listeners, that you're all in a space of gratitude, because that's what we're going to talk about today. Focusing on gratitude, not just for one day, but always. And you know, I believe if you want to shift your energy, especially during those moments when you feel like nothing is going your way, the secret, focus on gratitude. And I know we probably hear that a lot, especially as entrepreneurs. People say it's part of their morning practice to get up and say thank you. That's something that I do. Thank you just for waking me up this morning. But also some people write in a journal 3 things that they're grateful for the day. Some people write in a journal 3 things that they're grateful for at the end of the day. Any of those practices, all are wonderful. But I want to talk to you about those moments when you should be grateful, or an opportunity is there, not even a should. An opportunity is there for you to tap into the healing power of gratitude when things do not feel like they're going your way, and you can use gratitude to shift your focus. And I'll tell you a story just in my own life so that it doesn't sound like I'm just preaching from something that I've never had to practice. I've believed in it. It's something that I've always wanted to practice, or say to myself, this is what I'm going to do in moments when things aren't going right. Focus on gratitude. And this past summer, I was working as a consultant at a very big media company. Going wonderful, was there from spring into the summer, had a lot of conversations with them actually about continuing on in some capacity. And I'm sure I've told this story in some version of it before. In any case, thinking about moving on with them in some capacity, thought it was going to be great. This will give me an opportunity. This was before I actually started the 5-day-a-week podcast. So in working with these people, because I really like them, they seemed to really like me, I loved working with them, I was thinking that I would be able to work with them in a way that it would be a flexible schedule, so I could work with them and I could work on my podcast. Best of both worlds, right? You know, we're very big on the both and around here, trying to figure it out. And I will tell you, up until the very end, and when I say the very end, I mean the last day, or maybe 2 days before the last day, or the day before last day, very close to the end of my consultancy there, everything was moving along. I thought we were going to have a talk about what the fee would be for me to stay. And suddenly, one of the gentlemen that I worked with said, "Oh, it's not going to work out. I'm so sorry, but we love working with you." A little bit of et cetera in the email. And I will tell you, in that moment, even though I wasn't looking for a full-time job, my stomach sunk, because I had these plans of what I was going to do with this opportunity for the future and how it was going to work to my advantage. And there's nothing wrong with that. All of us do that. But in that moment, my stomach sunk. A little bit of panic set in because I hadn't set up the next thing, because I was thinking this thing was going to work out. As you can imagine, that was a bit of a kind of moment. And honestly, what I did, I'm in a mastermind group. So before I even sent a message to them, because they all knew the negotiations and everything that was going on, which is what mastermind groups are great for, talking to people about those things in your life when you need some feedback. In any case, before I even emailed them, the first thing I did is say, what am I most grateful for in this moment? I honestly stopped. I was at a desk within their office at that moment, and I had to stop and say, okay, what am I most grateful for in this moment? And one of the things that I was most grateful for was I'm about to start a new podcast, and I'm so glad I'm going into this new area, trying something new. Something new is on the table, and I'm grateful that I've already started working on that, or that's already in the plans. And I went through these other things that I was grateful for, my health, and just all of these things I started to think of in order to release myself, free myself from the anxiety of that moment, and to get clear before I responded to the email. That's another thing. In these moments where it might feel like people, things, whatever are coming at you, you can count on gratitude to help you get clear and sort of block you in that moment, at least for a few seconds, from the craziness. So I really say, gratitude can do a lot of things for you. I've witnessed it. I've used it again and again. That was just one example. And look, I don't know if you're a believer, but I'm sure you've heard plenty of preachers, if you are, talk about this notion that it's wonderful to praise God or the universe or whatever you believe in and be grateful in the good times. But what does your prayer or your gratitude sound like in the hard times? I think what matters as much, if not more, is how your gratitude can show up in those WTF moments. Okay? What does your prayer, what does your gratitude look like in the hard times? And if you're a regular listener, you know that for me, it's one of the reasons that I love to ask a key question near the end of my interviews with all of my guests, which is, if you think over your life and career and you had the chance to thank only one person whose support was critical to you personally or professionally, who would that be and what would you say? And I will tell you, in those moments, it's usually a moment of reflection. The guest usually has to take a few minutes. Some of the guests get choked up. I even get choked up sometimes listening to their answers. Because again, it's those moments of gratitude when we're forcing ourselves to pause for a minute, which we sometimes forget, especially as entrepreneurs, as moms, as whatever we have going on. We're all very busy, and we might say thank you for people holding the door and that kind of thing. But when you really reflect with intentional gratitude, especially when it comes to the people in your lives, not even just a higher power, the people who are in your lives or who were in your life, who did something special for you or who were there for you in ways that they might not even know. And reflecting on this moment, if you had a chance to thank that person, who would it be and what would you say? So your challenge for today, since we're focusing on gratitude, is to call, not text, not email, not even a handwritten letter, even though that would be lovely, but call someone on the telephone, at least one person to whom you are grateful for their love or their support, or somehow if they supported you professionally or somehow in your life. Call that person. Do that today. Make a promise, not even just to me, to yourself. You're going to take this challenge and see what it does for you. In fact, you can let me know what it does to you. Leave a comment and let me know. But call someone. It could be someone that you talk to all the time. It could be someone that you haven't spoken to in a long time. Not Facebook message, not text. Call that person. Thank someone who has been there for you. Spouse, family member, friend, former colleague, someone who had a major influence in your life. And it'll not only lift you up, it will also lift them up. And so, not to put too much pressure on you of thinking of what to say or who to call or who to talk to, I've also rounded up just a few of the great responses to that question that I always ask to give you a little bit of inspiration. Here are some touching, truly touching thank yous from some of our guests, who include Tracy Matthews, Dr. Karen Thomas, Karen Teller Bass, and Melinda Emerson. So listen to this episode. Hear some of their thank yous, what they say, how they say it, even though they're not talking to that person. But you can hear just how much of a moment it is for them to reflect on gratitude and really think about the person that meant something or means something to them. And before I go, I will say thank you to all of you listening all around the world. It means so much to me. In fact, it means everything to me. I really appreciate you. I am grateful for you. I do not take you for granted. I really appreciate every moment, every minute, every download. Subscribe to the podcast so you can get all the downloads. But every download, everything that you've done to support is sexy. Okay, so here we go with a few moments of gratitude, and then you make your call. Here we go. Now, if you think over your life and career and you had the chance to thank only one person whose support was critical to you personally or professionally, who would that be and what would you say?
Oh my gosh. I think I'm going to cry right now. I think I would thank my sister, Carly. And I say that because she's like one of my best. I mean, it's hard to say she's my best friend because I have other sisters. I don't want to hurt their feelings either. Mm-hmm. But we're so close. And there was a time when when I closed my business, that we weren't even talking, because that was a really hard process, I think, for both of us to go through. And she sacrificed a lot to work for me. And to kind of come into this to be a partner. And what she helped me see got me to where I am today. And it's pretty incredible. That was a really hard time, I think, for both of us, and she sacrificed so much to actually like help me follow my dream instead of following her dream, which was huge. And I'm also so grateful that we were able to come out the other side and sort of repair, I don't want to say the damage, but be able to like repair what had been sort of damaged in that couple of years that we worked together, because it was such a tough time. You know, we weren't really getting along and stuff like that. And it was like a huge learning experience, I think, for both of us that put us on trajectories to where we are now. And now she is doing like amazing stuff for big banks and helping them grow their teams and operations, which is pretty cool to see. So I'd have to say Carly, my sister.
Oh boy, one person.
I know, it's a tough one.
You know, I think I would probably have to say to Reverend Dr. Charles E. Thomas, who was my pastor for many years, who's now gone on for his reward. But the Marion P. Thomas Charter School, you know, people say, oh, that's your legacy, Karen. But it's really his legacy. Because had it not been for him, there would have been no seed planted. There would have been no devotion and commitment to having the faith that this could and would happen, that it would be what it is now, that it would grow from where it started to where it is now, to whatever it shall become. But Reverend Thomas was a dreamer, an inspirer, just everything that that you couldn't say no to, that you just couldn't say no to. So being a great man of faith and helping me to grow in my own faith to a point that I could take on, a ministry. I'm going to just call it a ministry, like building a school, believing that that it's important to just be a good person and to help other people, and what a blessing that comes back to you as. All of those things in my life were really wrapped up in him. I knew them before, but I believed them after I met him, and I experienced them after I met him. So I would have to say that, I've been blessed my whole life. My dad, my mom, my brother, the people in my life, my friends. But Reverend Thomas sort of epitomized all of that in his life, and what he also poured into me and saw in me that I didn't even see in myself.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I'm getting Elayne, my grandmother. I lost my grandmother 4 years ago, as I mentioned. Actually, this May was 4 years, May 12th. And she has been and still is the single most important person in my life, next to myself and my daughter and everyone else, I would say, because I have never experienced unconditional love as a person until I laid eyes on my grandmother. I am one of three, so I am the oldest. I've always had to be the most responsible. I've always had to take care of everyone. It was the first time forever until my grandmother died where I was able to always be a child. No matter what, no matter how old I was, when I went to Florida, I was slept in her bed. You know, when she was going through her medical issues, I would leave New York from work and go to Florida to be there for whatever it is. So unconditional love is what she gave to me, and it's what I give to people that I love. Because there's nothing better than being able to be yourself and having someone look at you and tell you that no matter what you do, no matter what happens next, you're going to be okay because I have you. And that's what she gave to me.
I would thank my mother. I would thank my mother because my mother made me tough as nails. My mother made me a boss chick, and she knew I could handle the title. I didn't understand what she was doing at the time. There were times when, Lord, I felt like she was the meanest person God ever put breath into. But what I realize now was that it was she who made me the woman and the mother and the business owner that I am today. My toughness and my empathy and my kindness came from her. And I would tell her that not everybody gets a good mom, but I sure got one. So I would thank her. And I do thank her. I talked to her this morning. I thanked her. So.
Oh, good. Good. That warmed my heart. I know how it is. Mom, nothing like mom.
Girl.
Nothing like I'm a daddy's girl too, but
I'm a daddy's girl, but there was a day when I woke up and I realized that nobody in this world loved me like my
mama. Exactly.
And I was like, I had to get a clue. I had to apologize. I just send my mama flowers sometimes just because
of that time when you just didn't listen.
It's a wonder I'm alive to tell the story.
Right. All right. Thank you all so much for listening. I truly appreciate you. I am grateful for you. I mean that. So now you know what to do. Go out there and create something sexy and make that call. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care.